right back into the gang lifestyle, no matter what I tried to do to get out of it. And I would say it was around 1983, after I, been worn out with this gang lifestyle. And by the way, I've been shot at about, I've never been shot, but I've been shot at about 6 times, I would say. I've been in gang riots, I've been in race riots, I've been in all, if you name it, when it comes to violence, I've been a part of it in some kind of way, some kind of fashion. I've seen it all. And I was just tired of it. And I was looking for a way out, but really back then there was really no resources or no type of a support to help us get out. And with me, it was more so nobody witnessed to me or invited me to church or said, hey, have you ever thought about giving your life to God? It was just one day I was walking down the street, and I'll share this story with you of how it happened to me and made me start seeking God. It was one morning, I don't know if any of you are familiarized with the drug called PCP, and if you've heard of that, they dip it in Sherman cigarettes, and so they call it Sherm, or they can pour it over marijuana, or they pour it over peppermint leaves. Back then they did. And it's embalming fluid, or they take it from animal tranquilizers. And that's still today, to my understanding from talking with the guys on the street, that's still the choice drug for gangbangers today. But back then, that was, my choice of drug was PCP. And one night, I was, me and my homeboys, we smoking Sherman. I smoked it all that night. And the next day, I had a job, and I had lost my job. I got fired from my job. And so I went down to the unemployment office to see if I can get some unemployment. And I was about, I would say then, at that time, I was about 21 years old. And I remember sitting down talking with the woman from the unemployment office and to try to get a job and get some employment insurance. And she was asking me questions. And as she asked me questions, she asked me what was my name. And my mind went blank. And she asked me where did I live. And I didn't know anything. My mind just went blank, and all I could say is, I don't know. And and the way she responded to me, it kind of humiliated me. The way she had talked to me, you mean to tell me you don't even know or your address or where you live, your name? And I felt so bad. I was like, I don't. And when I left out of that building, I felt so humiliated and so bad about it. And I remember catching the bus back to my side of town, and I was sitting in front of a church building, and my belief before I got saved was that I didn't believe in God per se, the God of heaven, our Father that we talk about in Jesus Christ. I just always said I know that there's an eternal being somewhere that exists, a supreme being who created all this, but I don't know if it's the God that they talk about in heaven. But I remember sitting in front of a church, and there were some people on the inside, and so I had the criminal mindset. So my thing was, let me get away from this church before they think I'm trying to break in it or something. So I get up and I started walking, and as I was walking up the street, walking up the hill, lights just came on. It seemed like it. I looked around, and I looked at creation, and I looked at everything, all living things that was moving around me, and a thought came to my mind that there got to be a God somewhere. And the way I felt at that moment, I wanted to know who God was. And so the first place I knew to look was in the Bible. And so I still was coming down from PCP, and I remember locking myself in my room for about a week, and I was just reading the Bible. And everybody thought that I had lost my mind, I had smoked too much Sherman, and was going crazy. But I had come down, and this stuff was actually, the things I was reading in the Bible were actually affecting me. And it affected me so much until, well, let me back up a little bit, because I missed the part. That same day when all those thoughts came to my mind, I actually went to a church that day. There was a church that was open, and I met the pastor at the door, and I told him, I said, hey, I want to get saved. I want to give my life to God. And he said, you do? So he took me in, and he prayed with me, and he told me that, my life was turned over to God. And as I began to read my Bible that week, there's some things that he told me that when I saw in the Bible, I just didn't agree with. I felt that he told me some things that were wrong. I won't get into all that, but I felt he told me some things that were wrong. I didn't know all about God and all this, but I was just basing it on my understanding. And so when he came by to pick me up that Sunday, I told, I think I was staying at my mom's house. I told him, I said, tell him